Ahoy mateys, welcome to Sailing with the Dock Rat. This is going to be my equipment episode. I'm going to go on the inside of the boat and the outside of the boat from stem to stern and show you where I keep everything that I use to get along. So far, I've gone from the San Francisco Bay as far south on the North American coast as Newport Beach, California, and as far north as Ketchikan, Alaska, and back over the last dozen years in my working retirement. So, join me. Let's do this. That's the chain locker, and that is 150 feet of 3/8 inch high test chain. Once I get the walls all washed down, I take up the mats and wash both sides of those guys. So here's the bed. Queen bed, beautiful little space. Important to have on a sailboat a device that will cut the largest steel cable, and this would be that tool for me. Here is a very cool piece of equipment for me. This is my captain's chair. It is basically a mechanic's stool that I took the casters off of so that I can sit in the companionway, see everything, and with my Dodger out of the wind, nice and dry. And what I did is filled in this gap in the forward berth. Voila. So this just comes in here, fits right like this. I get it at the right height, and it fits right in there. It's it's perfect. Put the pad on it. Pretty cool, huh? So captain's chair, queen bed, bammo, nice piece of equipment. And now I brought up my captain's seat, and we are going to go below the forward berth and show you what is down here. What I have under here is some canned food, ropes, and tools. Let's look at the tools. It'll move a little bit in a heavy sea, but it does not bang around at all. Here's a bunch of spare parts. Here's a pretty depleted supply of canned meat. So just kind of those like, damn, you don't have anything to eat type boxes right there. So here's what I keep in the very front of my forepeak. This is 3/8 inch Dacron, and that's what I use for my running rigging. It's tough as nails, really easy to work with, and it works great. So I just get it a roll at a time. I have this 200 foot 5/8 inch Dacron for spare anchor line. Okay. So here's the other box of tools that's under the forward berth. Let's take a look at all this stuff. Here we have spare hoses for the gas line, extension cord, water hose. This is porthole gasket, and then there's another just general gasket there. Sockets. Now I haven't had this open in a little while, so it's always a good idea, these kinds of things, marine environment, keep them oiled up nice. This is an absolutely essential tool. This is a hand drill. I use it as much as I possibly can because, you know, when you are on the boat and out there and you have to use that and start drilling holes around, it's a pretty good chance that shit's gone down and your electricity may not work for all these hand drills and etc. that have batteries that run out and aren't ready when you are. This is always ready, and it works great. Drill bits, they go in the same as where the drill is. These are awesome drills for my hand drill. Grabs right onto those things good. Grease gun for the outboard. Couple hangers. You're just looking for anything. Here's the blade that I bought before I started the season last year. Looks like I might be able to go another year. They usually start corroding. I don't want corroded hacksaw blade. Drywall saw. This is an important piece of equipment. This was what I would use in an emergency to cut out a a bulkhead in order to use it to make a spiral rudder or some such thing. Here's a flush for my water maker. 1 tablespoon per quart. Outboard motor stuff for that thing that's just absolutely huge that you need to pry on. Spare number 2 Phillips. Here's a plug for the door advent on the deck. Piano hinge. Some rubber lining for gaskets. Here's to, in vain, try and find some tool you dropped in the water. It's not stainless steel. Another big wrench. We're going to put that in the other one. This is a fine tool. It's an all-in-one. You could build your sailboat with this thing. Another spare starter rope. I'll put this in the other box. Small clamp. It's not going to work much longer because of rust. Grease. Plumbing. Some clamps. Oar lock. Put the jib on. It goes attached to the deck, attached to the jib. Spare one of those. Here's my buck rigging knife given to me by a sailor. Chisel, yeah. Rigging wire. This stuff is essential for everything. Tying down your pots on the stove, keeping your rigging good. Wrenches, tape measure, starter rope for the outboard. Here's a fid. This is a really cool tool for when you're working with rope and making splices and such. That thing works awesome. File. That thing works great, metal and wood. Needles for pumping up your fenders. I have a roll of Velcro. Here we have paintbrushes, plugs. Get a hole in the boat. Better be ready. Here's my bell that I need to fix. Ooh, it's an award. In Race to Alaska, Best Salvage. That's when I ran my boat up onto the beach on San Juan Island. Team Dock Rat. Jim Edmark. Sweet. And there's always very cool little places for stuff like this. A measuring tape, 3 feet long, that only takes up, look at that. Just what else would you put here? Last thing we have down here in the forward berth is a 13-gallon water bladder. I'll use that when I head for Hawaii. This is the head. This is a pretty essential piece of equipment on a coastal cruising or blue water sailboat. So under my waste tank and behind the toilet, these are the things that I keep. Just some air freshener. These are the harnesses and leads to the jack line. Keep us on the boat. And this is my fishing equipment. That's how that equipment fits. Okay, so here is the other side of the bathroom, which is basically bathroom storage, first aid, and I got a bunch of food storage under the counter as well. I use this faucet to pump water out of my 13-gallon water bladder. Some sterile pads, gloves, rags, paper towels. I keep my change in a plastic bag. And then on the second floor of my sink, bathroom sink, I have all my dry food storage. And with these things, it's pretty much everything that we're going to need for simple first aid. So there we have it, guys. That's how it goes down in the bathroom. Everything's put back. And this, what you're looking at here, is the captain's berth. This is all the equipment I have here. Zooming in, we basically have 3 levels. And on the first level, we have sunglasses, reading glasses. That is Melissa Lee from Northern California, Mendocino County, Pomo Indian. She's a healer. She watches over me. And then I have my harmonicas. I have some writing tablets, vital documents, passport handy. I have a length of twine for any number of little odd jobs throughout the day when you're sailing. Here's some memory cards and such for the GoPro. And then I have all my cords are wrapped around these things. What this is here's my wind speed indicator. It also gives me a good idea on the direction because it's going to be the fastest when it's pointed right out the wind. Here is a spare inverter that'll charge your cell phone. This is a backup GPS unit that has a chart plotter on it, and the US so and such charts. This is my parking light, and that plugs into here, goes up in the cockpit to hang out for the evening when I'm in anchorage with other boats. On the shelf, let's see, then we'll come back over here. I can have it in a place. This is a waterproof pen and pad. Xantrex 1000-watt sine wave inverter. Changes the 9-volt into just shore power. And then I use that to charge things. Like these are for my camera. And it has a USB and an outlet. And then on the second floor, this is where I store my auto helm. This is my camera. It's wedged in there, won't come out. And this is my water maker. I have here on the aft end of the captain's berth is the electrical panel and the wind turbine charge controller. And this is the electrical panel. It has a very simple battery switch to turn the whole thing off. It has 12 fuses to various things on the boat, and a couple 12-volt plugs for plugging in 12-volt appliances. Here on the first floor, or the aft end of the captain's berth, we have the navigation and communication station. This is a VHF with AIS and GPS standalone unit. It works great. I used it this year and just had a great time with it. This is for dead reckoning. This is just a compass. It's for built for dead reckoning, and I use that on a paper chart just to in case I may need to do that if the electricity goes out. When it doesn't, this is has navionics and gives me very precise information on where I am, my track, and how fast I'm going, etc. It's an awesome little unit. And then I have a handheld VHF. That and that both have satellite distress calling ability. Okay, and this is my cubic mini wood stove. It's literally 1 foot by 1 foot. It's insulated. It does all the sophisticated gas burning technology. It is literally just a miniature version of a very cool, safe wood stove. And I use it to burn Presto logs. I use a hammer and a 1-inch chisel as a sledgehammer and an awl, and I just break them up into pieces and burn them. And it's super clean, super hot. It's awesome dry heat, for especially when you're in places that has a lot of condensation. This thing rocks. And I'm often in places where I can harvest tree branches that are on the ground, have been sitting there for a year and all nice and dry and ready to burn. It's beautiful, man. I've loved this thing. It's just, if you live on your boat, this is a must. Here's my bush saw. This is for when I'm cruising along and I can get firewood from the forest at the anchorage. And on the third floor, under the Companionway stairs, I have my solar charge controller, which has a couple plug-ins and charges various electronic instruments on the boat via USB. And that's a 24-volt high-tech battery that is 10-year guarantee on it. It's supposed to last for 20 years. Now for the lower floor of the captain's berth. What's down there? Here's a nailing pad I've been using that I keep up here. And then I keep a board that I use. Lang, look at all that storage space for when I'm cooking. And then I have a cutting board down there that I use to chop all my wood on for my fireplace. So at the rear of the captain's berth, there's a little cuddy hole, and in that cuddy hole goes my system that I use to get up the mast, which consists of a Hobie Cat harness for a bosun's chair. Works great. And then I have a 4-for-1 purchase with a locking hub that allows me to pull myself up the mast. Here is the captain's berth without the pad, and what I keep down there is my electronic wire, windmill parts, buses, zip ties, spare ends to extension cords. Here's my electric measuring instrument, and some connectors for wiring. Just some spare wire and other parts that you'll use when you're doing electrical. And then we have a gallon of cutting board oil for the kitchen counter. And then here we have a sail repair kit, which I use. This is a strand of 3/8 inch nylon rope that I'm taking apart gradually to make nylon string. I wax it up and it works great for sail repair. Here's some sail tape, sticky type and sewy type for making repairs on the sail. S plural. And that is the seawater intake for my head. Voila. So here we are in the galley. This is the first little section, and this is where I keep spices and my vinegars. Yeah, that's that. Cutlery, a couple different kinds of knives, paring knife, serrated chef's steak knives, and 2 different spatulas. Down here we have some cookware. I have a couple cast iron skillets and a 1 gallon pressure cooker. Presto! Yeah, baby. Here's a Camp Chef outdoor stove that works perfectly indoor. I have my gas system set up on a solenoid, so it's very safe. 2 burners, big burner, small burner. They work great. Oven. This is the professional model, and it keeps temperature to 450 degrees. Here's bilge level storage in the galley. I got just some underarm deodorant, lip balm, different salves and such. And then I have spare parts for my drones and my lighting system, the light bar. So just spare parts right there. This is my hair clipping kit, and this is an Ortlieb waterproof bag with my spare laptop charger, some spare electronics, that kind of thing. Can't forget the definitive source. If you got all the spices, man, you are happening with this chick. Good job, Irma. This is the most updated version. I love it. So here is my refrigeration system in my galley. It's just a Igloo marine cooler, and I've inverted it. I've plumbed the drain that was on the unit to the bilge, and so when I do have ice in it and the water builds up, why it goes down into the bilge instead of out onto the floor. And then what I've done is made little shelves to accommodate whatever I got going on. And I can operate this in a bunch of different combinations. To have a block of ice down there, it's good at 40 degrees for 4 days. It's a nice little unit. Voila. So here's the top floor and the main galley food preparation area. Here we have my sink with running water. It's a foot pump. Super simple. Don't have to worry about electricity going out there. Ha! I organize everything in alphabetical order up here in the spices so that you have a general idea. And then some things just make it to certain areas. So here's a look at everything that goes down there. I have my waterproof document storage, Gorilla duct tape, big bowl with cups and small bowls. This is a rolling pin. I use it to beat fish over the head. This is my flare kit. And then I have my solar pans. Here's my hot pads with my plates. I got 4 plates. Got a tortilla press, olive oil. Here's trays for the solar oven with a spare cup, mortar and pestle, 2-quart saucepan, colander, grater, fillet knife, 4 different size cutting boards. This is the bottom shelf. There's my documents, my duct tape. There's all my bowls. They stay in there awesome, man. So we have knives, forks, spoons. So here it is all together. Just root around in there till you find it. And the cool thing about this one, I have a little light installed. So when you do have to root around a bit, bammo, easy to see everything. Sweet! And here it is back together. Got my 10 gallons of water, my laundry supplies, little waste pail. Down below I have some essential books and some T9 lubricant. This is the tool holder, and these are the tools that represent about 80% of the stuff I have to do on the boat while I'm getting along. And then I use those other tools for when it gets more extensive, but this is just the general playing around tools that you'll use. I keep them is in a very accessible place right under the Companionway stairs with a fire extinguisher. And here's what it looks like when it's all under the Companionway stair, all put together and ready to roll. Okay, mateys, here we are at the end of the equipment issue. I just have my 35mm DSLR tripod and my drone hanging from the grab bar to get out of the Companionway. And on there I have a bunch of various knots. I have a 3-way knot for tying up at the dock, a couple pieces of rope with some splices, and just generally small pieces of rope to tie things down in a flash. And that's it for the inside. In the next episode, we're going to go outside, just like we did in here. We're going to go stem to stern. I'm going to show you every piece of equipment on the boat. And that'll be it for the equipment. It'll probably take me about a week to get that one going. Until then, dig it.